record on this. Okay. I wasn't going to do any PowerPoints, but in order to, in thinking about Indian stuff, I put together four. Come on, there we go. Just four PowerPoints about India, and because most of it's going to be about my pictures. I think the biggest thing that I got out of India was the mosquitoes. I got eaten horribly by mosquitoes, and I was using repellent, and everybody was, but man, I really got it bad. Okay, and then we were in the city of Mysore, the English name Mysore, and the Indian name Mysore or something. The reason it's called Mysore now is because when the British Empire took over, they couldn't pronounce the other word. And it's famous for rosewood, sandalwood, stone sculptures. It's one of the major IT hubs, and it's second in the state for software exports. Oh, come on. Why did I do it? What happened here? Okay. It's also very famous for yoga, and I'll talk in one of the pictures. I'll explain a little bit more about that. And basically, everybody speaks English. It's the second largest population of English speakers in the world, but they also have their own regional language. And as you'll see in the pictures, cows are protected, and killing a cow is a crime. You'll see them everywhere roaming. And there's over 300,000 mosques and 2 million Hindu temples. They're everywhere. There was a time that India was the richest country in the world. Probably started around 1,000 years ago. It was the only source of diamonds, and of course, 70% of the world's spices come from India. You see sugar plantations everywhere, and they were the first country to refine and consume sugar, so you can blame them for that. Mm-hmm. Hinduism is considered the oldest religion in the world, and 80% of the population is Hindu, 14% of Muslim, 2.3 Christian, 1.7 Sikh, and 0.7 are Buddha. I was surprised that number on Buddhists was that low. So, okay, so enough of PowerPoint. We don't want okay, now we're going to talk about we're going to go over the pictures that I took. So in my website, I need to go Asia and Australia. And then I look for India. I have two for India. This one that just says India basically has every picture I took. And we're just going to do India favorites. Now, the top banner you see here, which we'll talk about a little bit more about, is the palace and the king. But this, my partner on this trip was May Grove, and they actually have a statue of her in India. And it's pretty fitting. They really captured her personality there. Have to give them a lot of credit. We stayed, the tall one there is my son, Chris. And this is his wife, Shruti. And this is her mother, Mom. And this is her father, Dad. That's all I know. And this is her son from a previous marriage, and his name is Passion. And they were having a birthday party for Dad when I took this picture. So, and now this is her brother, his Krishna. And he's a yoga and training instructor. It's his full-time business. He has the studio on the roof of the building. And this is his partner, and she's also a trainer and does outdoor adventures and stuff like that. And her name is Kamachi. And this is May getting ready to work out in that gym that I told you about. And they've got a climbing wall. This is the roof of it's a 2-story house, or 3-story if you want to count this. But this is well laid out. And I mentioned the palace. Mysore has a king. Now it's ceremonial like Britain with their monarchy and so forth. But basically every region of India has a king, and there's a bunch of them. So the king of Mysore comes every Wednesday at noon for training with Krishna. This is right at the house. We stayed at Shruti's mother's house, and it has garden and flowers everywhere. So this is kind of get a picture of what that was like. This is right outside their house. I call this "Let Sleeping Dogs Lie." There are a lot of I don't know what, I guess you would call them stray dogs roaming around, but each dog seems to have adopted a household that they hang around for food or something. This is home delivery service.
For firewood?
For firewood, yeah. I really don't know what it's for, but I like the picture. These are my favorites. Okay, this was actually taken at night. I guess there's enough light, still enough light. But these carts are everywhere, hundreds and hundreds of them. And early in the morning and late evening, they're pushing these carts and they're going, "Onions for sale, onions for sale," as they go up and down the street. 2 for $1, whatever.
They're saying that in the native language?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. So yeah,
Not in English.
no, they're not doing that in English, but most of the signs are, just about every sign is in English and the local dialect. So this guy had a truckload of coconuts, and May bought a coconut from him, and I snapped this picture of him decapitating the coconut. Okay, this I took at night of the palace, and they don't light it up like this all the time. And even when they do, it's only for an hour, and it's 76,800 light bulbs. And it's quite a spectacular sight, and the streets are packed and stuff because people come to see it lit up. And this is the daytime. This is from the other side of the palace. And Lawrence, you'll be happy to know that both of those are panoramas, Lawrence. And
best way to get this shot.
Yeah,
it is.
It was a great way to get that shot. So for both of them, yes, as a matter of fact, on this one, I got out of the tuk-tuk and was walking around and took a lot of pictures, but it was only the panorama that was worth showing of the night scene. This is just, there's lots of pictures inside the palace. I'm just showing one here. The palace is very opulent, and so that gives you an idea.
Well maintained.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is also in the palace. I think that. Now this is in downtown Mysore. We're walking around looking at markets and stuff, and so these are some of my favorite street photography pictures. And I've kind of changed my approach the street photography. I decided I wasn't happy with how I was doing it. And so now most of my street photography pictures are taken with a 40mm prime. And I try to be more inclusive. In the past, I probably would have framed this right down to the guy and left out all this.
Oh, you need the background.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
tells so much story.
Yes, I think it tells the story much better. So,
Unless you follow up with a close-up.
yeah, that's true. There's a big traffic circle right in the center of town with this monument and statue, and I couldn't resist getting a picture of a tractor in traffic.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you can't, you'll see every possible thing there can be in traffic, including cows and horses. And now this building was fenced off, and it was very, very difficult to find a place where I could get a picture of it. But I did, and I made a black and white out of it, and I submitted it to the Club of Black and White, and they gave me an award for it.
Nice.
So this is around that traffic circle, and people out shopping, as you can see. Just English is heavily used there, and like I said, just about everybody I met could speak English quite well, actually. I don't know what a matching center is. I meant to find out, but
Matchmaking.
I don't know. Now there was I think the first full day we were there, we went to this carnival. It was only for a couple of days they were having this carnival. And again, this is a panorama, and I really like lining this up with the pointed tents and the water tower in the background. I just thought that was a nice effect. And this is a portrait I really like of a guy at the carnival in his booth where he's selling silk. There's a lot, everybody's selling silk. Silk's a big thing there. This, I happen to capture the white population of Mysore. And they have an audience. But nobody got that.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I muted myself. I was laughing.
Oh, okay.
mhm.
This was
Oh, that's good too.
yeah, this is very colorful background. And this guy's practically buried in here, and he's trying to sell these articles. So, and there's also just this a market that just goes on and on forever, multiple, just very crowded alleyways of markets. And so this gives you, how do you like them apples?
What kind of pricing did you
Well,
ask?
okay, the pricing, do you see a price there? You basically take the price of, like, if it's 300, what the heck did they call it?
Rupees?
Huh?
Rupees?
Yeah, 300, you're right. 300 rupees divide by 80 and you've got dollars. So,
Okay.
this is also in the market. And this I took from, I was in a, forget whether I was in a taxi or something, or Uber. I saw this in traffic and managed to catch it. There's a few of those around. Now we went to one of the millions of Hindu temples, but this, a lot of them are just small and so forth. This was a big one, very famous, on top of a big hill.
Huh.
So this was also at that temple. Of course, there were hundreds of booths of people selling things everywhere, all around the temple. This lady was sitting in a chair. There's another street vendor. And there are a lot of monkeys around in India, and this was my favorite one. And we talked about the cows, and the cows literally are everywhere. You can be driving on any street, and I guarantee you're going to see a cow wandering around or off to the side, chewing on things, whatever.
What's the smells like around the city?
It wasn't really that bad. I didn't really notice anything about smell.
I just wondered with all the trades doing spices, the animals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do people go
This-
pet, do people walk up and pet the cows, or are they supposed to leave them alone?
People do pet them. I do have a picture of people petting a cat. I didn't put it in my favorite, petting a cow.
Okay.
Here's a picture of somebody at work. This is another Hindu temple that we went to, but it was really remote. It was a lot smaller. There was hardly anybody there. But in the, oh yeah, this is another shot of it. But in the area there, this was on the street leading up to it. This was what places looked like. It was in a very poor area. Then we went to a Buddhist temple. This thing was huge. And so I learned that monks are very thirsty. I never could find out what was going on. They had all these bottles lined up.
Aren't they serving alcohol too?
I don't know. I wasn't close enough.
Those look like alcohol.
This
Those are glasses.
is the main area inside the Buddhist temple. And this is
And
close.
that's all gold leaf statues, right?
Yes.
Wow.
And there's paintings everywhere like this. It's all around the palace or temple.
Hmm.
This is back to street photography. Here's another one of those carts I talked about. Again, I have this in my favorites because of this, both of this cart and the white and red coloring. It's just a interesting street shot. This is a fixer-upper. There's, yeah, I could not get an understanding from no, wasn't there long enough to get an understanding why there would be these buildings that are just in total ruin. And there might be a nice building right next to it. And I'm not sure what's going on. Like, here's another one. It's just falling apart.
Wow.
Now these I took, the heat there was really unbearable, and the heat in that area of the country has increased dramatically. Mysore used to be known for having a very mild climate, hardly ever got above 80. It was as high as 99 and really high humidity while I was there. So my son and I would go out early in the morning, walk the streets and take photos, and then go back in. And during the heat, we basically stayed inside during the hot part of the day. Again, this is on one of the morning walks. Now, some of the cows people seem to have adopted. She she's got this set up and she gives this cow food and water. Maybe she milks it too.
Are they allowed to milk the cows?
I don't know. I don't know. Here was another abandoned site, which it just surrounded um, by the jungle.
I love that modern looking building and the jungle's just taken over. Like,
Yeah.
It-
Yeah.
it doesn't look that old, really.
This is really one of my favorite pictures. There were people actually living back there, but I kept seeing, the first time I saw this, I said to the people I was with, I says, that looks like a Morris Minor. And they said, no, I think it's called a ambassador. And I says, oh, you sure? It looks like a Morris Minor, British Morris Minor. Well, it turns out there was an Indian automobile company called Ambassador, and they built this car under license from Morris Minor, which is basically a copy of a Morris Minor, like Russia Ladas or copies of Fiat 124. But they were the dominant industry because of, when you read about it, it says because of corruption and bribes and stuff, they dominated. And this was basically the only car you could buy for about 15 years. And it talked about some of the advances over time, like they upgraded it in 5 years with a new grill, little things like that. But now the automobile industry is open to anybody. But the car I saw the most were Suzukis. They're buying the Suzukis are very small, and the streets are crowded. Gas is expensive. It's proportioned. I mean, when you got a country where the average income is about $4,000 a year, you're not going to see $5 gas. But it's so inexpensive. Well, from my point of view, the longest Uber ride we took cost $2 in American money. You could get a tuk-tuk take you anywhere for about 80 cents to $1. So this was inside the house we were staying, and it was on the halfway up the stairs to the second floor. And I saw that and I go, wow, that is cool. And I took a picture of it. And when I showed it to her mother and father and brother and stuff, they never noticed it before.
Beautiful textures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. So this is we're into my favorites of favorites now. This one I really like. This is out in front of the post office. And so I just like the color and texture of it. I think that came out great. And this is one of my hat pictures.
Okay.
This was I like finding hats on display. You've probably seen some of those in the past. I'm not sure what this was, but it was in a gift shop hanging. And this is another hat one, and I worked around to where I got it backlit, and it gave a really nice effect.
Yeah.
And these guys are so nice. We went to this little coffee shop that is called Clay Pot Coffee. Well, it's basically clay pot coffee, and they serve it in these little.
How did you like the coffee there?
Coffee was good.
Is it like an espresso or?
Well, you can get it. Yeah, it's pretty strong. I got it mostly because I know I'm known for drinking strong coffee, but that was strong. So I mainly got the equivalent of a cappuccino. I got the coffee with steamed milk.
Mm-hmm.
This is
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we had went to the Olive Garden for dinner or for lunch, I forget now. It was a long drive to get to it. It's in kind of a resort area with very luxurious swimming pools and stuff. And there's nothing to do with the American Olive Garden. That's just what they decided
Oh.
to name it. But when they first told me we were going to the Olive Garden, I said, I don't know. I don't like going to the Olive Garden. They treat me like family. And but this was a really, really good restaurant. But Indian food is very spicy.
Ah,
And so I'm looking at the menu and I decided I can't handle spicy. So I ordered the mac and cheese and Mr. Foreman, cover your ears when I say this. I don't want you to hear this. Thought about not saying it, but it was extremely good mac and cheese. Oh, it was awesome. And safe. It wasn't spicy. But as we're walking out, this lady's sweeping the street and she turns and gives me this look and I just bring up my camera and snap. I didn't have time to really compose or anything, but I always keep my camera what I call walk around settings. I usually have it like I'll change it for whatever if I need to, but I set it at 500th of a second in f8. Figuring I could shoot in an emergency, I could shoot about anything with those settings. That if I would have asked her,
She's just such an iconic portrait of the
Yeah.
country. I
And
think.
she's
Yeah.
stunning. It's just
Great.
beautiful.
if I'd asked her to take her picture, I think I wouldn't have not gotten this look.
Yeah.
No,
No,
No.
It's one of these things you had to snap it while it was available.
How far away were you from her?
Not very far. There was like 7 or 8 of us walking and she down the street and she was sweeping there. And then as we walked by, she kind of turned and gave this smile. And I just went, bam.
Yeah,
And it's
perfect.
now this lady was walking down the street. As she walked down the street, I took several shots of her. But the one I liked best was she went further down the street. The background was just horrible. And in my new approach to street photography, I'm trying not to change the background, but the picture just looked horrible with that background. So I moved her to the Bird Palace. The Bird Palace we went to, that was quite an experience. We went to the Bird Palace because Shruti says, oh, there's a bird sanctuary or something. So we decided to go to it. Oh yeah, that sounds exciting. No photography allowed.
Oh,
And they were really watching me. They wanted me to put a lens cap on my lens. It's a scam is what it is because they've got about 5 photographers set up to take pictures of you with birds all over you, and then they want to sell you the picture.
mhm.
So this background was right outside the Bird Palace, but I really like this picture I got of her. But where she was standing by then I just could not make it work and look right. And then
I
this
heard on the
again,
radio.
huh?
I just heard on the radio in Paris or in France, they're opening up a gallery all about the human body. And to go in, you have to take off all your clothes to go through the gallery.
Well, that fits in real well with what we're talking about, Larry. But anyhow,
Well, it is,
Again-
the photography and everything.
this is right outside the no photography birds. And we're waiting for an Uber, and these people stop. He's talking on the phone, and it's such a cute picture. Especially that one girl in front. Okay, that's it for my favorite photographers. We're on our way out. And always wear a helmet when driving.
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 I don't have it in the favorites, but I did take a picture of a sign that had Fram Fresh Fruit. FRAM Fresh
Oh,
Fruit.
farm.
Oh, Fran, oh, how cute.
Yeah.
Wow, what a trip. I wish you would have added some pictures of your mosquito bites. Those were pretty epic.
Oh,
Uh, that's okay. I'm healing.
Steve and I
No,
had
we-
coffee a day or two after he got back, and I have never seen mosquito bites like that. It was
Mhm.
insane. I mean, really, they were like, they would go in rows, like they would just drill in and keep going like every quarter inch for like 6 inches.
Mm. Oh,
I went to
without exaggeration.
Minnesota to visit a cousin. And we were golfing. And when the twilight was coming, the
Mhm.
mosquitoes just swarmed in.
Oh,
They were so heavy, we had to stop playing and rush out of there.
oh,
What city were you in again, Steve?
Mysore, MYSOR. It's about 2 to 3 hours southeast of Bangalore. And Bangalore, I wish we could have spent some time in Bangalore. It's a much more modern city, much larger, huge population. And it had really nice infrastructure, nice downtown area. I was in good spirits when we landed at that airport. It was really a nice airport at Bangalore. But then we got on a bus to go to Mysore, and without a doubt, the bus seats on that bus were the most uncomfortable bus seats I've ever been on. But anyhow, and then there's the income disparity. Like I said, the average income is gonna be like $4,000 a year. Some people only make $2 a day. But yet there's a guy living in Mumbai who lives in the 4 of them live in a 27-story house with a staff of 600.
oh,
Oh, he's well off. But
Yeah, I used to
Probably
buy it.
owns everything in the city.
wow.
I've
There's
seen
an
them in-
awful lot of millionaires in India.
Yeah,
The disparity between the rich and the non-rich is huge.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, they have more millionaires than the US, but they also have 5 times or more the population. I mean,
Mhm.
they're approaching 1.5 billion people. They've just passed China in population.
Really?
Yes. So, and there's a lot of moves. Tech companies and stuff are wanting to leave China and moving to India.
Mhm.
There's a lot
You
of that.
talk to them on the phone all the time for tech support.
Yeah. Telemarketers too. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Like I
And their English, is perfect.
Yeah.
And there's no dialect.
Yeah, that's true. Like Krishna, who was Shruti's brother, I was really amazed at his English. It was so good, and his depth of knowledge. I really enjoyed his company and talking to him. So learned a lot from him.
I heard or read that the most successful people here in the United States are from India. They do, I thought maybe it was the Chinese, but the Indians
Mm.
are more successful, more educated, better educated.
That I can see. It probably I don't know whether they're still having a brain drain like Iran. Iran has, because of their policies, has a huge brain drain. Matter of fact, some of them live near me, very smart and educated. But Shruti, well, they pointed out there were a lot of it's also a college town, and we went by several engineering schools, medical schools. According to her, the best eye center in India is there for the eye. So
So Steve, question, the
yes,
picture behind you, do you know who those three are?
no. Do you?
No, I have no idea.
Well, what little I learned about Hindu is it's been around for almost 6,000 years, the world's oldest religion. And you think, at first glance, you think they have hundreds of gods. Well, they don't. They have one God, and all these others are manifestations of the one God to make sure you boil your water and whatever.
Okay,
Watch out for you. They're very, they have the largest percentage of vegetarians of any country. And Ruthie's parents were vegetarian, are vegetarian. The one thing that all Indians do, and I have a hard time with this, is they eat with their fingers, all their food with their fingers. And
so they don't use knives and forks?
they have them available. They basically know, unless it's something that you just cannot eat with your fingers.
Wow.
Rice.
They eat rice with their fingers.
So,
They eat some pretty mushy stuff with their fingers. And I did not get into that. I used a fork and spoon. So let's see. I thought of something else there besides the vegetarian. Oh, the divorce rate is about 1 out of 100. So it's among the lowest divorce rates anywhere in the world. And
I saw in the chat that Kat added that it was probably a matchmaking company when it said didn't it say the signs?
Yeah. One of the earlier photos.
Right,
oh yeah,
match,
marriage mag.
matches, yeah, it's that's probably for
Oh.
marriage.
Yeah, they do have a lot of arranged marriages are fairly common. And anyhow,
wonderful pictures.
And the British screwed up the country for quite a while.
yeah,
What
Yeah.
screwed up the country?
The British,
Oh, the British.
yes.
it was actually well, it's still British, but it was the East India Trading Company that did most of the colonialization, and they're looking to make a profit. Like I said, India has a tremendous amount of resources. 70% of the spices. It was originally the only source of diamonds in the world, and so.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew, but the city of Mumbai is the old name of Bombay. It used to be Bombay, and they went back to the original name Mumbai.
Yep.
Would you go back, Steve?
No. And
Get that off your bucket list.
yeah, the 30 some countries I've been to, I can't think of any that I wouldn't mind going back to except India. And probably it's tough to say that, because I know if we had done the trip differently and traveled around more, we probably could have saw some real interesting things. But the thought of getting eaten up by mosquitoes again.
Yeah.
And I never had this problem in Cambodia. I use mosquito repellent in a variety of countries, but boy, they're so aggressive. I managed to kill one,
Oh,
but I'm probably going to be responsible for the new batch of mosquitoes in that area, because it's only the female that bites,
Yeah.
and she wants the blood for her eggs.
Oh,
Yeah.
And so I've actually been doing a lot of Googling about mosquito eradication. I think that should be the #1 goal of the UN. 'Cause
You know,
Well, I
I
did a training booth for the Army on malaria. And, it's a
Yeah.
destructive process, both in humans and the
Mhm.
mosquito.
Wow.
So how many days did you spend there, Steve?
was that for 2 weeks?
Oh,
Oh, yes. Let me tell you about getting there. We flew to Sacramento because my son lives we flew to San Francisco. My son and his wife live in Sacramento, and we wanted to fly with them. So we flew Emirates to Dubai, changed planes, and then flew to Bangalore, and then took a bus to the bus station, and then Uber to her parents' house. Well, it's the same either way, but it was more dramatic coming home, because the plane left Bangalore like at 4:30 in the morning. So
Mhm.
about 9:30 in the evening before, we got on the bus to go to Bangalore. Had about 3 hours there by the time we got there, and flew to Dubai to San Francisco, and then our flight from San Francisco to LAX was delayed by 2 hours.
Oh.
By the time we got home, we had been traveling for 36 hours
Mhm.
Hmm.
and hardly any sleep, and very uncomfortable. So
Yeah. So when you go there, you gain hours? Are there ahead? Well, I don't know.
yes, when you go there, you're losing a day basically, or you're into the next day.
Mhm.
They're a day ahead of us. It's just similar to Australia. But
Mhm.
when you come home, you get that day back. You get back on the same day you leave,
Yeah.
because of the international time zone.
Mhm.
so I can understand how much the traveling had to do with your not wanting to go back to India also.
Yeah. Well, as Amy and I have discussed this about my traveling, I am getting older. It's getting harder and harder to do this travel. May's already going to Australia next year in January, and I decided I'm not going. I enjoy the people there. I really love Australia, but and I've been there in the last 30 years, so probably at least 20 times because of our family. But every time I go there, I spend a third or more of my time recovering from flying there.
Mhm.
I get respiratory issues and so forth. So now I'm talking to her about we could so easily, we have an SUV, we wouldn't have to hire a dog sitter. We can hop and take our dogs, go in the SUV and go for a day trip, a week trip, 2 weeks, whatever we want, anywhere in the US. And there's a lot to see in the US.
Yes, yes, there is.
And so I've taken my bucket list and changed the B to an F. So
Oh,
Well, you-
so you're going back to Indiana soon?
Illinois. and
Illinois,
we're going
sorry.
to- Yeah, I have already have two more things booked, but it's a 3.5 hour flight to St. Louis to be with my family. And then we also have an insurance convention in Colorado Springs. That'll be a
that's
very short
nice.
spot.
That'll be nice.
You'll love that. I've been there.
Mm.
That'll be, and then that's it for me traveling the rest of the year, I think. And I'm pretty much accepting that I may have to give up my international travel unless I go to, unless Africa. Oh my goodness, I want to go back to Africa so bad. I don't know.
You probably want to
I'll
stop
probably
recording.
never leave Long Beach again to
What's
go
that?
anywhere.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm still getting disoriented in Long Beach. I know my way around Melbourne, Australia better than Long Beach. Yeah, Kevin?
I'll see everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Kat,
the.
we never did. You're not going to show your face, Kat? Jeez.
He said he lost his Wi-Fi for, oh, there he is.
Oh, she's reading a book called Mosquito. She's on the chat.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Yeah.
reading a book called Mosquito.
Yeah.
Send me a little text message as to what that book is about.
It's in the chat. She did.
Yeah, I saw that, but
We lose
Dave,
that.
was there a lot of disease because of the mosquitoes?
oh, humans. Oh, yeah. Well, over that is going to be a good one to read. I see now she's got a link here.
Yeah.
The over 1 million, I forget the exact number, but over 1 million people a year die from mosquitoes.
Mm.
Okay, I just bought the book. So
Huh.
I just went to Amazon and bought the book. So we're
My cousin's wife's father died of dengue fever,
Oh,
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, you get that from
which
mosquito bites.
took about 3 weeks from the bite to the
When
end.
I was researching malaria, I got a lot of my information from India,
Yeah.
from
Oh,
the World
terrible.
Health Organization.
Mhm.
Well, it is possible to, what I've read about mosquito eradication, if countries and people were willing to put some effort into it, it could be done.
Mhm.
Some places have been successful at it. I think for the US, if we took 10% of our $750 billion defense spending and take 10% and fight mosquitoes with it. Oh, Cass says Bill Gates is working on it. All right.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
and so then I was wondering, well, if some animals are species like bees, if we eliminated them, we'd be in big trouble. There have been animals that we've made extinct, which has not been beneficial, that they went extinct. So then I thought, well, what's the ecological effect, or whatever you want to call it, of eradicating mosquitoes? Well, mosquito is a Spanish word for small fly. It's one of 3,600 species of flies. There's no shortage of flies that don't bite you or don't bite you like a mosquito does. So there would be no loss, I think.
fleas and
environment.
mosquitoes. We could just do without them. I don't think the world is going to have a big backlash if we get rid of those two. They just come suck blood and
You
don't.
better look out. They may be on your menu someday with what they're trying to do with.
Well, I'd rather eat them than have them eat me. I guess that would be.
Very good.
Do you, does anybody have fruit trees? The Department of Agriculture they come every
Well, the
year.
mosquito gets the infection from humans.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so if you can do something about the infection that humans have, they wouldn't carry it to mosquitoes.
Ugh.
Because
I
there's a
think,
whole cycle of malaria in the human body
Mhm.
that,
Barbara, I think
you know,
what
the
they're
mosquito
testing for,
gets.
is not just.
It's a cycle that you
Right.
have to break.
Yeah.
They're,
did you
they're looking
say,
for
Amy?
fruit flies and different kinds of, like we had the Peruvian fruit fly way back in the 90s that was causing such havoc. But I don't
Mm.
think it's just straight mosquitoes they're looking for on those traps.
Yeah, they leave them there for, and I just told them the first time, go ahead and, you know, every time you come, I just have 2 trees.
Mhm.
And so they put them on there and then they go and collect them.
Yeah, I have a lemon tree they were doing that with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Don't let
after
water
4 o'clock. What do we got planned for Friday?
Well, thank you.
We're going to talk a little bit about sizing our photos and then review.
Okay.
Okay.
Review Facebook.
Well, thanks everybody for coming to
Thank you.
IKEA. You can go to my website and see more pictures if you want. Like I said, I just gave you a small sampling.
It's
So
good talk, Steve. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thanks.
It was
thank you,
great.
everybody.
Okay, see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.